everyone, my name is Iris and I run the blog lifeofiris.com where we talk about cruises, travel, and life. And today we are going to be talking about world cruises. So a couple of weeks ago, Viking Cruise Line announced that they would be sailing a 136-night world cruise in 2022. And while this is a big deal, a lot of people were very excited about it, I am here to dispel the myth that world cruises aren't very common, because, in fact, world cruises are far more common than you might think. In 2022, there are currently 15 world cruises scheduled on 13 different cruise lines. And there is a big range not only in how many days they're being sailed, but also what the price is. So they are ranging from about $15,000 a person. That fare might be gone at this point, up to $200,000 plus a person. There is a huge range as to the pricing. What's included within those prices is also very different. And then the time range. So the shortest world cruise is 99 days, and the longest available is up to 196 days, which is just absolutely insane to me. So anyways, today we're going to break down some of the myths about how common world cruises are, what a world cruise is, as well as tell you which cruise lines are offering those world cruises in 2022. All right, so what is a world cruise? A world cruise is typically a cruise that starts in one port, does a full circumnavigation of the globe, and ends up back in that same port again. Now, as you'll see as we talk through these various cruises, there's some variation on that. Only about probably half of these actually do a full circumnavigation. There are some that start in one port and then end slightly different. It's still hitting, quite a few continents, typically about 5 continents. So you're still getting a world cruise experience, although you're not doing that full circumnavigation. All right, now there are 15 world cruises happening, which compared to the thousands of other cruises that will hopefully post-pandemic be happening in 22, might not seem like a lot. But like I said, these cruises are at minimum 99 days, so at least 3+ months. And so of those 15 ships, 4 months on each ship, it does add up to quite a lot of days that are being sailed. And the thing that might surprise you is that these cruises actually sell out incredibly quickly. So when I went to look at the aforementioned Viking World Cruise, I wasn't actually that surprised to find out because I've been around the world cruise market for a little while now. But that cruise that was only advertised a few weeks ago is actually almost sold out already. And that one starts at $60,000 US dollars. So even the more expensive ones, they sell out quickly. So world cruises are actually a really big market for them. These are very loyal cruisers. The cruise kind of loyalty programs that you have don't actually mean much on a world cruise unless you're at the absolute top tier, because the majority of passengers will have 500, 600 days, 1,000 days. And so unless you're in the very, very top 15 loyalty cruisers for that particular cruise line, you're going to kind of be in the same category as everybody else. And that's okay. It just means that there's a lot of really loyal cruisers to that particular cruise line, which is great. So we have a lot of loyal cruisers that are on these. They will go year after year. I've met people that have been on 18 or 19 world cruises in a row. Obviously, this year, 2021, is going to be the exception for that, as there aren't any world cruises operating this year. There is one that technically starts in 2021. It starts December 24th of 2021, but we're still categorizing that as a 2022 world cruise because the bulk of the cruise is happening in 2022. Okay, so what makes a world cruise special other than the fact that you're on the ship for about 4 months? So aside from the fact that the passengers tend to be repeat, and so there'll be passengers that you will see year after year, the crew are also often the same or close to the same. You'll get a lot of repeat crew members. And so you end up building a real sense of community while you're on board. There are people that you've known for years. There's crew members that you've known for years. You become pen pals with them. It's great and it's wonderful. You also get the extra time in ports on overnights and various things like that. You have the option for an overland tour, which I'm going to take just a second to explain. So an overland tour, for instance, say you were going to Africa. The World Cruise was heading around to Africa, and you wanted to go on a 1 week long African safari. So when you get to that first African port, most likely you'd leave the ship and you'd go on an overland tour. So that is a tour that usually a member of the ship will also be accompanying you. You'll have a local guide, and then you'll go explore something more in depth on land, and then you'll meet up with the ship again at a designated whatever that port is. So that could be 3 nights away, it could be a week away. They do these in Africa, they do these in India to go see the Taj Mahal. They happen quite often in Australia as well, so you can go get a better look at I was going to try an Outback accent. Anyways, to go to the Outback. So there's a variety of Machu Picchu, South America, definitely a couple options there. And so you have these options for overland tours, so a way to experience the land part of a destination that you might not want to fly to otherwise. So you get those opportunities, and then also on board they always do a variety of extra and more culturally intensive programming. So that could be bringing on local dance troupes, it could be cultural ambassadors that are coming on, local chefs, local artisans. There are also usually additional arts and crafts classes, dance classes, and more onboard activities that are brought on. So there tends to be a lot going on. It doesn't tend to be as much in the nightlife category, but it is in the cultural immersion category for the most part. So these world cruises are certainly a special experience. You also have various gala nights and evenings, and it's not uncommon for, a ship to, for a special evening, go to Ephesus and have a concert sitting in, the ancient ruins, or to have an exclusive tour of the Hermitage Museum at night. And so often they will set up these really special events ashore as well that is very exclusive only to World Cruise guests. So World Cruises are quite an experience. They're pretty, they're incredible. They're great. It's definitely not like a normal cruise, and the guests that go on them tend to love it enough to come back year after year. All right, so let's get into what is being offered for these world cruises. So it's not just the luxury lines like Viking that's offering world cruises in 2022. There are a number of what I would consider premium cruise lines. They kind of dance, some of them, between the kind of contemporary level and the premium level or the mainstream level. But they are offering a world cruise. I guarantee if you go on a world cruise, you're going to be getting a premium product because they need to keep you happy for 4 months. All right, so we're going to start with those premium / mainstream cruise lines. So offered is COSTA is offering a 126-night world cruise on the COSTA DELIZIOZA that is theoretically starting at $14,869. That's what's currently advertised on their website, but then if you dig a little further, it seems like that fare is actually sold out, so it's probably going to start at a little bit more than that. And that one is round trip from either Venice, Rome, or it also looks to be a Barcelona option. So there are a few options for where that's going to be, and it will be a full circumnavigation, which is great. On CUNARD, they actually have 2 world cruises that are going to be operated, on the Queen Victoria and on the Queen Mary 2. And there's a subtle distinction with this. So the Queen Victoria is actually going to be doing a full circumnavigation. So it's going to start in Southampton, go all the way around the world, and then end up back in Southampton again. It's 108 nights. It starts at about $20,000 US a person. The highest level suite that's currently available will run you about $87,000 to be in. It goes across the U.S. It goes to Panama Canal, San Francisco, down to Australia. It goes also New Zealand, and then it makes its way down around Africa and then back up to Southampton. So lovely itinerary. Queen Mary 2, while it's technically being called a world cruise, it is not a full circumnavigation. So the Queen Mary 2, you're going to start in Southampton, make your way a couple stops in the Mediterranean, head down through the Suez Canal over to Australia. So, you still stop in a few spots in the Middle East, in Sri Lanka, and then you're going to do a full circumnavigation of Australia, which is rare. That itinerary isn't offered very often on any of the cruise lines. So a full circumnavigation of Australia and then back up to Southampton. So you are not going to go all the way around the globe. In fact, you're not going to spend any time out in the real open Pacific Ocean, which isn't bad. It's less, that's a big crossing going across the Pacific. It's usually 10, 11 sea days. The Queen Mary 2, that sailing is 104 nights. So it's not a shorter cruise, really. It's 4 nights shorter. It's not really shorter. It's just you're getting a different experience. So if you're looking for a full circumnavigation of the globe, that is not going to be one of the cruises for you. It does also stop in Dubai, Petra, Israel, and the UAE, so United Arab Emirates, which is great. All right, Fred Olsen Cruise Line. So Fred Olsen is a UK-based cruise line. They operate 4 ships, and of that, they are going to be having their Borealis, which is one of the new ships that they acquired this in 2020, and that is going to also be going a round trip out of Southampton. It's going to be for 101 nights, and it's heading out across the Atlantic. It's going to do a stop in Bermuda, Panama Canal, South Pacific, New Zealand, Abu Dhabi, and then make its way up the Suez Canal to the Mediterranean and finish in Southampton. And one of the fun things that they're including in the fare for this is luggage portage between your cabin and the drop-off pickup point. So anything that makes luggage easier, especially when you're going for 4 months, you're going to have quite a bit of luggage, is fantastic. This one starts at about $30,000, and the highest level cabins that they have are actually sold out right now, but you still can get a fairly decent suite for about $45,000. So if you got some pocket change, that would be a great option. All right, next up we have Holland America Line, and Holland America Line is going to be operating their world cruise this in 2022 on the ZAANDAM. If you were following the cruise ship sales of 2020, their typical world cruise ship, the Amsterdam, has been sold to the aforementioned Fred Olsen Cruise Line, although it's not the same ship that they're going to be doing their world cruise on. And so it's getting moved over to the ZAANDAM, which is a similar size ship. It's going to be operating round trip from Fort Lauderdale for 128 days. So the previous couple ones that we talked about with CUNARD and with Fred Olsen tend to be around that 100-day mark. This one is a bit longer, which typically if you see something that's a bit longer, it's going to mean more overnights in those various ports. This itinerary includes the Amazon. It's actually the only one of these world cruise itineraries that we're going to talk about that does go to the Amazon. And so that's a pretty exciting experience that you can take part in. It also will head over to Asia, including options to go see the Great Wall of China, Dubai, Petra, and Mediterranean, including an overnight in Istanbul. Istanbul was a very big cruise ship overnight staple back maybe 8 to 10 years ago. And then there was a bit of unrest in Turkey that caused them to stop doing this regularly. And it was meant to start coming back heavily on itineraries in 2020. Obviously, we know that didn't happen. And so it's still exciting to see that come out. There are a variety of various extra world cruise perks that come with this, depending on your stateroom level. There are stateroom levels that include luggage service that'll be shipped from your home to the ship, and then also from the ship to your home, so you don't have to bring luggage with you when you travel at all. Laundry service, internet packages, it depends on your stateroom category. These start at about $19,000, $20,000, and once again, the highest level suites on this are already sold out. I know this might surprise you guys, but the highest level suites are sold out on pretty much every single cruise we're talking about here. but their price range goes up to about $50,000, $52,000 for what's available right now. All right, next up we have MSC on the POESIA, and this is operating round trip out of Genoa, Venice, and there's a few other stops that you could pick it up to do it, but those aren't necessarily round trip. This is going to be for 117 days, and once again, it's going to head out across the Atlantic. It's going to head down to South America, Australia, New Zealand, and India, and then it'll make its way up back to the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal. With this, there are a couple fun world perks that world cruise perks that I enjoyed. There's 15 shore excursions that are included in the price, and that's for every stateroom category, as well as a dine and drink package, which includes if you wanted a glass of beer or wine during dinner or lunch. So it's not, if you want to go out dancing in the evening, the drinks aren't included then, but it includes something so that if you're sitting down for dinner, you could have a nice glass of wine. And there's also a discount on laundry services. All right, the thing with this is the prices are not listed on their website. So a few of these that we're going to talk about, they don't list their prices on their website, and instead it is a request a quote or request a call, which is not a bad thing. Then you can have a more in-depth conversation with a representative from the cruise line to find out what is offered and what some of the different amenities they have are. All right, P&O Cruises, another UK-based cruise line, is also offering a world cruise. Theirs is 99 days and is round trip out of Southampton. This is on the Aurora, and it is a full circumnavigation. It'll go through the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal, it goes to Australia, and then while it's over in the eastern region, it's going to head up and do a fair bit of Japan, actually, which is nice. There's not a lot of these will go to Singapore, Hong Kong, the geographically more southern portion of Asia. But Japan, this is one of the ones that is a bit more northern in the Pacific region. And so it's nice that the Aurora is going to be stopping there. All right, this one's slightly less expensive. It's $16,000 theoretically, up to about $25,000, $30,000 depending on what category you're in. Again, the highest level categories are taken, so if you wanted a suite, those would be quite expensive, but you'd have to be on a wait list for that at this point. All right, Princess Cruise Line is the other cruise line that is offering 2 world cruises in 2022. And theirs, CUNARD was offering 2 world cruises, leaving basically at the exact same time from the same port, just going different directions. Princess, who has a pretty strong presence in the Australian cruise market, is going to be operating 1 world cruise that is more designed for Northern Hemisphere, North American guests, and 1 that is designed for Australian or Southern Hemisphere guests. And the reason that I say it's designed for them is based on when it is sailing. So the Island Princess is going to be offering a cruise starting on January 5th, which is round trip either out of Los Angeles or Fort Lauderdale. The Fort Lauderdale one you got to pick up a little sooner. It's going to be stopping at Easter Island, Australia, the United Arab Emirates, going up through the Suez Canal, the Mediterranean. It is including going to Norway and the Arctic Circle. So you can head up from Norway, up even further, and get into that Arctic Circle realm. And then it'll stop at Iceland as well before returning to the United States. All right, so with this, there are a couple bonuses, and these bonuses are somewhat similar between the 2 Princess World Cruises that's going to be operated. The first is a premier beverage package, Wi-Fi, gratuities, onboard credit, round-trip air, as well as some specialty dining options. All right, and that one is starting at just under $19,000 up to $40,000 to $50,000. Now, so that one was the one for the kind of Northern Hemisphere, North American guests. The next is going to be on the Coral Princess. Those 2 ships are sister ships, and this one's going to be leaving on May 14th. There is an option to do round trip from Sydney or Auckland. and it's for 107 days. It's a similar overall itinerary, actually. It's just operating in the Northern Hemisphere summer or the Southern Hemisphere winter. So Easter Island, Australia, UAE, Suez Canal, Mediterranean, Nordic, Norway, and there are some additional early booking benefits for them as well. This one is priced slightly higher at $21,000 to $35,000. All right, so that is Princess, and that closes out our premium / mainstream cruise line world cruises. Now we're going to head into the luxury cruise market. All right, so for luxury cruises, overall these prices are going to start significantly higher than any of the ones that we just talked about. So you can get a suite on a premium cruise line for the same price that you can get a basic cabin on a luxury line. Now let's talk about very quickly the difference within that. So the basic cabin on a luxury line is often going to be what would be considered a suite on a premium cruise line. So a basic cabin most likely will have a window. There's a good chance it's got a balcony. It might have a bathtub. You might have double vanities. So those obviously are slightly different between each of these cruise lines. But typically your basic cabin on a luxury line is going to be a much larger, more well-appointed room than on a mainstream or premium cruise line. There also tends to be a lot more things included, such as drink packages and Wi-Fi that are not just special for the World Cruise, but just included overall. All right, let's get going. So we have Crystal Cruises. So Crystal Cruises is going to be offering a 116-night world cruise out of Miami on January 17th. This is going to be going to Central America, New Zealand, the west coast of Australia. So a lot of cruises, when they go to Australia, they'll go Sydney and then they'll make their way up, which is great because you get a chance to see the Great Barrier Reef, but you're going to be missing out on that west coast of Australia. So if you've been up the east coast of Australia, if you have done the Great Barrier Reef and that kind of thing, this could be a great cruise for you to be able to experience the other side of Australia. Alrighty, that one starts at $53,000 and goes to $225,000. Now, on their website, it wasn't advertised with a lot of extra inclusions for the World Cruise, but that is also because Crystal Cruises pretty much includes everything already. All right, next up we have OCEANIA Cruises, and earlier on you might remember me having said that there was a world cruise that would go up to 196 days. That is with OCEANIA. Now, this one is not going to technically be a full circumnavigation, which feels a bit ironic considering the length of the cruise. So either way, you can start in either Los Angeles or Miami. Or Miami would be the first embark port, otherwise Los Angeles. You're going to go all the way around and then eventually end up in New York. So New York will be the disembarkation point. So slightly different, but alas, still fantastic and a ridiculously long cruise. Lemon. All right, so this very long cruise, where is it going to take you? So you're going to go to the South Pacific, New Zealand, the west coast of Australia again, so another opportunity to do that. You're also going to be doing an extensive Asian itinerary as well as Africa and a couple parts in Europe. So it's a pretty cool itinerary. It's definitely unique amongst the other itineraries, and there's also a lot of benefits to it. So there's prepaid gratuities. There's an asterisk with this. Free onboard medical care. You have to take a look at the terms and conditions to see exactly what that includes, but your onboard medical care would be included. There's internet, laundry services. There's a few shoreside events. So when I was talking about those, an exclusive night at the Hermitage or things like that, things like that, well, this isn't exactly, it wouldn't be that because they're not going to St. Petersburg, events such as that. There's also a free one-night pre-cruise luxury hotel stay on onboard credit, as well as transfers between the hotel and the ship. This one is going to start at $50,000 and go up to $157,000. And while that seems like a lot, that's also for 6 months. So take that price and divide it over 6 months, and all of a sudden it seems a little more reasonable. All right, next up we have Regent 7 Seas. So Regent 7 Seas is going to be offering a 120-night world cruise on board the 7 Seas Mariner, and this one is round trip out of San Francisco. So far for U.S. departures, we've had Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Los Angeles. This one's going to be San Francisco, so up a little bit more north. All right, this one, however, it is 120 nights. It does go to 17 countries. This one is not a circumnavigation. It is a Pacific circumnavigation. I don't know what the word is for that, but it goes all the way around the Pacific very intensely. There's also 299 different shore excursions that are going to be included in the price for this cruise. It starts out in San Francisco, it heads up, has a few stops in Alaska. It does go out to the Aleutian Islands, stops in Dutch Harbor. It has a stop on the very eastern side of Russia, and then makes its way down into Japan, does very extensive Asia, makes it down very extensive Australia, New Zealand, and then would make its way back up and across. I can't give you prices on this one. You will have to ask the cruise line. Prices are not listed for this online. All right, SEABOURN. SEABOURN is offering a world cruise. This one is not a full circumnavigation, and it is not round trip. It starts in Los Angeles and ends in Athens. So you don't actually do any Atlantic crossing in this one at all. It is 145 days, so the ports are going to be pretty extensive, and there are quite a few overnights. There are also a lot of perks that are included. SEABOURN does include a lot in their fare anyways, but there's quite a lot extra that's added on. This is operated on the SEABOURN Sojourn. It includes a gala bon voyage dinner, an overnight hotel stay at the Ritz-Carlton Marina del Rey prior to departure in Los Angeles, 3 exclusive world cruise events, a president's event, a world cruise pillow gifts, early cruise booking benefits include round-trip business class airfare, private car transfers door-to-door between home and airport, personal valet luggage shipping service between home and ship in Los Angeles and in Athens, which the port in Athens is Piraeus, ocean view and veranda. Oh, that's for the suites. Oh no, that's early booking. And then for the ocean view and veranda suites, there is a $4,000 shipboard credit. That depends on your level. There's visa packages. One thing that's included in a lot of these are visa packages. So when you go to these various places, a lot of times you will need a visa. And if a visa package is included, that means that the cruise line is going to organize those visas for you, so you don't have to deal with it, which is fantastic. I don't know if the ship that's going to be going to China is offering that. The Chinese visa is a bit of a challenge. Not undoable. Totally can do it. Loved going to the Great Wall of China. But the visa process is a bit challenging. Let's see. And laundry, dry cleaning, all that kind of good stuff. That was on the SEABOURN Sojourn. All right, SILVERSEA. So SILVERSEA is offering a world cruise for 136 days on the Silver Whisper. This is going to be going from Fort Lauderdale to Copenhagen. So similar to SEABOURN, it's not doing a full circumnavigation. Instead, it's going to leave its ship over in Europe, which is presumably where that ship's going to be doing its summer season. All right, this one includes Antarctica. Yay, Antarctica, go see the penguins. Africa, Egypt, Petra, and Kusadasi, which is your access for Ephesus, France, Norway. There is a shore excursion offered in every single port. There are 35 unique specialty experiences, what they're calling it. Business class air, bon voyage reception, dinner accommodation, private transfer from airport to pier, pre and post cruise, onboard credits, world cruise events, special commemorative gifts, baggage valet, laundry service, Wi-Fi, another cruise line offering onboard medical services, and a visa package. And this will cost you, we don't know, because once again, this is one that's not listed online. but you can go to their website or click on one of the various links included in this video to find out more. All right, and last but not least is the cruise line that prompted this video, Viking. So Viking is offering a 136-day world cruise. This one is actually not a circumnavigation. This one starts in Fort Lauderdale and ends in London. This is the one that's going to be leaving December 24th, 2021. So it's the only one that's sort of operating within the year 2021. It's operated on the Viking Star. It will go to 27 countries, including, let's see, we've got Komodo Island, Petra, Israel, Kusadasi. There's quite a few double overnights, actually, which is a great part of an itinerary. Opportunities to see the Great Barrier Reef, Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Perks include business class air, ground transfers to and from the ship, private car transfer, that is if you're in certain level suites, and all onboard gratuities and service fees, Silver Spirits beverage package, including virtually all drinks on board, and a complimentary visa service. All right, so this one was just advertised a few weeks ago. Rates start at about $60,000, and the current highest level that you could get goes to about $88,000. The highest level suites that they had were going for $135,000, $140,000, and those ones are already sold out. Can't even make it up. So that's the rundown of all the world cruises that are currently scheduled for 2022. So if you are interested in a world cruise, there are options. You can also do a segment of a world cruise. So if you're interested in part of a world cruise, see if that cruise line offers a segment. So you might be able to go on for 3 weeks or a month instead of the 4 or 5 months that the cruise is offered for. And if you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments. Additionally, links for all of these voyages, as well as my blog post where I discuss these voyages and include maps for where each one's going, is located in the description. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. I can't wait to hopefully see all of you on board at some point, either in 2021 or maybe on a world cruise in 2022. Thank you.